I've tried at least half a dozen different cloud shares, and for quite a while I used several at once, taking advantage of the free space each of them gave you. However, since OneDrive added the Files on Demand feature a couple years ago, and at about the same time I finally gave up and subscribed to Office 365 that comes with a terabyte of cloud storage, now I just use OneDrive. In this video, I'll share my tips for using OneDrive to share cloud storage with a friend and giving them edit or write access to that space. Here's the way I structure the space I share in OneDrive. At the very top level, I have a folder called Share, and in it I have folders for each category of files I might share. And normally I would give read access only to an individual folder under one of these categories. I also have a folder here called With Others, and this is where I create SharePoints that I give someone I trust edit access to. With edit access, not only can the person you shared the folder with add and modify files, they can also create new folders there, and they can share them with others. And before I forget, I highly recommend that whoever adds files under the SharePoint copy the files there, keeping their original copy somewhere else, since others might delete the files without you being aware. Now originally, if I wanted to share a folder with Joe, I would just call it Joe. However, now I recommend names that indicate who is sharing the files under the SharePoint, like here, Joe and Ren, a share. The reason is that when the person you're sharing with adds the folder to their own OneDrive, it will have the same name, and if it's just called Joe, soon Joe will have no idea who he's sharing that folder with. Remember, I'm viewing my own OneDrive online because you have to be online to share the folder. To see how it works, I'll create a new SharePoint for my Imaging Tips account. For now, I'll just call it Imaging Tips plus Ren, and I'll go up here where it says New, and I'll choose Folder and fill in the name and click Create. Now I could have also done that using File Explorer, but as I say, you need to be online to share it. Here it is. There are several ways to share it. I could click here, say Share, or I could go into the folder and click on Share there. I'll just say Share, and we get this dialog. Now it says anyone who gets the link can edit what's there. Now that's what we want, but I always recommend you click here and check the settings for the link. It says allow editing, that's what we want. We can set an expiration date, and we don't want one, so we'll leave that blank. But notice here it already seems to have a password filled in. I have no idea what this is, so beware of this. If it has a password filled in, select it, delete it, and now we can apply, and that's the link we want to send. Now we can just fill in an email address here and let Microsoft send it, which has the advantage that it will immediately add the SharePoint to that person's list of shared files and folders. However, the problem I've found with it over time is that many people use a different email address for their OneDrive account than their standard email. Therefore, I recommend clicking here, down here, where it says copy link, and that will copy it to the clipboard. And you'll get this dialog. Now, in this case, I have to click copy again because it's not really on the clipboard. Notice the check mark in the green circle. If that's there, you don't have to hit copy again. And I think if you're using the Chrome browser, you don't have to click copy again. Anyway, it's now on the clipboard, and I can email it. So let's assume we've gone to the email program and we've sent this link to whoever we're sharing the folder with. Okay, here I am logged into my Imaging Tips account, and if I go to OneDrive online and go to the Shared tab, nothing is shared to me because Microsoft didn't send me the link. Remember, I sent the link in an email. So I'll go to the email program. There's the email. Here's the link that was sent to me. If I click on that link, it opens this Shared tab, which is where it's located on my own account. It's down under Shared with others, etc. Now, at this point, we have the option, which I usually recommend, to actually add it to my own OneDrive. And if I click on that, I get this confirmation message. It tells me I'm signed in as randomimagingtips.com, and if I click continue, it's going to make it available as part of my OneDrive account. I'll say continue. It says it's about to add it. I'll click on add folder, and there it is. And now you see this folder is up under Imaging Tips. And if I go and click on it on Files, I see we have a new folder there. Now if we go look at this in File Explorer by clicking here, I think I have it open, and we go look at our OneDrive, you see the folder has appeared there. I can click on the folder, there's nothing in it. If I click on my OneDrive folder itself, you see the status of my folders is that they're all in the cloud. Nothing is local on this machine except the personal vault. And we have a little icon here that says that this folder is shared with someone else. And if I go into this folder, I can create folders. And I can create files, etc. Notice how, as soon as I pressed enter, it started changing the status, and now it has this little check mark here, but it's not a solid green. That means that it's local on this machine. The folder itself, even though it's empty, is local on this machine, and it's up in the cloud. And I can add things to it, or the person that is sharing it with me can add things to it. A couple of more tips. You don't want to rename a folder that's been shared with you from File Explorer. I discovered that by doing that, I lost the connection to the original share. Both of us thought we were still sharing the folder. We each made changes, but they never appeared on the other person's machine. So, my first rule was never change the names. But now, after more testing today, I've learned that as long as you change the name using the online interface to OneDrive, the person sharing the folder can rename the folder but can't move it. And the person that has shared it can rename it. They can also move it into another folder, and it won't break the share. If they rename it, the name here won't change, but the name back in the online share tab, if we go back here, if the person who shared it had renamed it, this file name would have changed. It would not have changed in the local copy, but it would have changed here. And if we re-added it to our own OneDrive, we get the new name. But the reason you might want to rename it yourself is so that it sorts down at the bottom of your list and doesn't get in the way of all your other folders that you have things in OneDrive. And you do this because you can't move it to another folder. You have to keep them up at the top level. So my solution is give them a name that starts with a letter way down the alphabet, and they'll mostly stay out of your way. Good luck, have fun with shared folders, and let me know if you have any questions.